Alright, welcome back to the channel, and for today's video we're going to be doing a bit of an update on the standings here. So these are my predictions. I made a video before the season started and where I thought teams would finish at the end of the year. Gave some thoughts, so if you want to check that one out, it's on the channel. But these are my predictions. I was pleasantly surprised and disappointed by a lot of teams so far this year. It's definitely been a very fun year to watch hockey, and we'll look at what the actual standings are and some of the players that are contributing to that with stats. But let's get into it. Starting out with the Central. Currently, the Dallas Stars are in first place. It's been very surprising to see how well they've been doing offensively. They're 12-6-4. They have 28 points. And it's big thanks to the offense. Jason Robertson has been amazing this year. 18 goals, 17 assists, 35 points. I believe he's second in the NHL in points. Definitely top three in goals. He looks like an absolute steal for what the Dallas Stars signed him for. And if he continues this, he's definitely going to get hopefully some type of an award. It's going to be tough to beat out McDavid, but maybe the Rocket could be possible for Robertson. But he's a really fun player to watch. One of the best in the NHL right now. Pavelski as well, not slowing down. He's been great. 24 points for him, 10 goals. And Jamie Benn, really nice to see him stepping up offensively. We knew one of the two, Benn or Sagan, had to step up if this team wants to be legit and getting in playoffs or doing any damage when they get there. 24 points for him. Really nice to see. Also, Jake Ottinger playing very well. 917 save percentage. So him and Robertson, two young guys they just got on contracts, already paying off for the Dallas Stars, and they continue. Again, it's going to be a bargain for Dallas, and it'd be interesting to see if they're able to keep this up. There is some teams who could definitely threaten their spot in the Central, but with their start, I definitely see them making the playoffs this year. And second is the Winnipeg Jets. They've been a bit of a surprise for me personally. I thought after missing last year and getting swept out of the playoffs the year before, that this core maybe was in need of a shakeup, maybe a trade. But what we've seen is the Jets looking back to form from a couple years ago. Morrissey really been impressive this year. Jets fans have been very vocal about him getting Norris consideration. 23 points, he leads the team. Connor with 20 points and Dubois with 19. When Connor gets going, he's been a little slow to start with goals, but if he gets going, Ehlers, Wheeler as well. I mean, this team I still feel like has not reached their full potential yet with what they're capable of on offense. And if they do, it's going to be very tough to stop them, especially with Hellebuck. 926 save percentage. He is having a great bounce back year. We know Hellebuck could play much better than he did last year. He is a Vezina level goalie. He's won it before, and he's definitely going to get consideration if he continues his numbers like this. So Jets have definitely been a surprise, and they've been very solid, and the defense as well has been great. So I don't see them slowing down. I actually see them maybe passing over Dallas and winning this Central Division. Third is Colorado. They are 12-6-1, 25 points, and they did start off the season a bit sluggish, a bit slow, and I thought that was to be expected. The cup hangover, but they have picked it up, and their players have been doing amazing for the defending champs. Rantanen 29 points in 19 games. He has just been ridiculous. 13 goals. McKinnon as well, no surprise there. 28 points. He's living up to that new contract to come in already. So really solid for those two. And Makar, he started off slow as well, but he has picked it up. 21 points now in 19 games. And probably the biggest surprise of this team is Alexander Georgiev. 933 save percentage. He's 10-2-1. Amazing numbers for Georgiev. Really nice to see him taking opportunity of this new role, being a starter in the NHL. He obviously wasn't going to get that role in New York, and he's taken advantage of it here. He's played amazing, and wow, if he can keep this up, I mean, they're going to have to give him some looks for the Vezina, and we thought if the goaltenders could just be okay, Colorado would get in easy, but with them playing like this, maybe they could end up dominating here as they start to heat up throughout the season. So again, Colorado looking dangerous, looking like they could make another run at it this year. And in fourth, the last playoff spot in the Central is the St. Louis Blues, 11-10-0, 22 points. They started off the season strong, went on a huge losing streak with something like 8 or 9 games, and somehow they've been able to get themselves back in a playoff spot. Thomas and Kyrou, the guys with the new big contracts on the team, leading the way. 19 points for Thomas, 18 for Kyrou. Would like to see the goals maybe get up a little bit, but they did go through that big slump. So as the team starts to play better, hopefully they will heat up as well. Shen there with 17 points, and with playing well, they definitely need to have Bennington numbers bumped up because 901 save percentage is not going to get it done. The defense, while they are injured on that back end, and Bennington has definitely suffered from that, his numbers are still not great. And it seems like every other game there's a clip of him raging off the ice, throwing a fit, and they definitely need to get that under control if they want to get into the playoffs and secure a spot. So they have some work to do. Hopefully, they get healthy, and that'll help things out. But for the Blues, it's unsure. I'm not sure if this team does get in, but they do have a good shot. They have some experience. They know what it takes. So it'd be interesting to see what ends up happening for them this season. On the outside looking in, we have the Minnesota Wild. They are 10-9-2, 22 points. So they're right there with St. Louis. Definitely could see these two battling it out throughout the year for that last spot. But we have seen a step back from Minnesota and was to be expected. Losing Fiala, I think they really do miss Fiala and some guys having career years last year that we expect them to kind of drop back. Specifically Ryan Hartman, but Kaprizov really having to carry the way of this team on offense. 27 points for him, 13 goals. Zuccarello with 20 points, and then you have Eriksson Ek with 17. This team really needs their rookies to step up. It's a lot to ask of them, but they have to have guys like Boldy and Addison, Rossi play big roles because they don't have any other option. They do not have a lot of cap space because of those big contracts from Suter and Parise. So yeah, it's gonna be tough here for Minnesota, but maybe they can do it. They definitely need the goaltending to be better if that's the case, because 901 save percentage for Marc-Andre Fleury is not going to be good enough. I kind of thought that Fleury would start to regress. I mean, he is getting older. Fleury, one of the best of all time, but at some point he is going to slow down. And yeah, they definitely need a solution here. Maybe trying to add somebody if they can. But for Minnesota, I'm not sure if I see them getting in this year. Definitely going to be tough with the losses they suffered, but you know, definitely want to see Kaprizov playing playoff hockey, but definitely going to be tough for them. So next is Nashville in sixth, 9-9-2 record, 20 points for them. They're not out of it, but the offense has definitely taken a step back. We saw a lot of career years again on offense with Nashville, and their defense has not been what we're used to seeing with Nashville hockey. It has definitely been bit out of norms for the Predators and their goaltending as well. You see Saros a 905 save percentage. He has suffered from that defense, but also his numbers have not been great personally. So disappointing to see. I personally had Saros winning the Vezina. I very high on Saros, like him a lot, but this is not good enough to get it done for Nashville. And Forsberg leading the way, 19 points. Yossi with 16, Duchesne with 15. Yeah, they definitely need someone to step up. Hopefully, Niederreiter or Johansson, someone need to step up and help this team out. But I think it's going to be tough for Nashville to get in, especially once those top teams start heating up. But who knows? We will see what will happen. Seventh is the Arizona Coyotes. Not a big surprise seeing them down here. 7-10-3, 17 points for them. A lot of big changes with this team. New guys getting added, and also moving the arenas, having a weird setup at the Mullet Arena, sharing it with the Sun Devils College Hockey. Also being on this huge, I believe it's like a 16-game road trip right now, which is just insane. So with all that being said, I think they've done okay. Um, you know, they've been pretty close in all their games. I think they've really challenged a lot of teams when they play them, and I think they've done the best with what they have on the ice. Clayton Keller having a good season, 21 points in 20 games. Spear continuing a solid season from last year with 14 points in 20 games. And surprising to see Moser there, new face defensively in that top three for points with 13. So there is a few bright spots here with Arizona. Definitely the biggest being Carl Vejmelka. Very big fan of Vejmelka's last year. and with 916 save percentage so far this year on the Arizona Coyotes, that's extremely impressive. I think they found themselves a really solid netminder with Melka. The question is, do they keep him? Is he someone they flip for assets? It's going to be interesting to see, but I definitely would like to see Vamelka stick around for the Coyotes if that is in their plans for the future, because I think he's a very solid goaltender. And last place in the Central, not a big surprise here, is the Chicago Blackhawks. They started off the season pretty strong. They were in a playoff spot for a good while, but they have just fell off back to reality. I think they're at 9 straight losses right now, something along the lines of that. They're 6-11-4 with 16 points. Leading the way is Kane with 16 points in 21 games. Only 3 goals for him, very uncharacteristic for Patty Kane, but then again, he does not have a whole lot to work with on this team. Domi with 14 points, and then Tays with 13. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Kane and Tays. I would likely expect them to be dealt because this team is just. I think it's going to get a little bit worse here. They've been playing very bad. I guess a bright spot would be Arvid Soderblom. They've had a lot of injuries with their main goaltenders, Mrazek and Stalock, and Soderblom, very young, has come in, 910 save percentage, is good in my opinion for how bad Chicago's defense is. So he has been a bright spot. Some young kids have played very well, but again, this is a rebuilding year for Chicago, and the tank for Bedard is in full effect. That is it for the Central. Moving on to the Pacific. In first is the Vegas Golden Knights, and I thought the Vegas Golden Knights would bounce back after missing last year, but I didn't think they would be doing this good. They're 16-6-1, 33 points. They went on a huge winning streak. I believe it was about 10 or 11 games, and they've had some huge seasons from a lot of their players. Eichel bouncing back big time, 26 goals in 23 games, putting a lot of haters to rest. People making comments that he was not a superstar, not good enough to play in a role this big on a team. He was kind of a annoyance in the locker room. He made the team worse around him, but he's put that to rest with how he's played so far. Also, Pietrangelo having an amazing year, 21 points through 23 games, and Chandler Stevenson keeping it up at 19 points, playing perfectly in his role and putting up unexpected numbers from Stevenson. Unexpected definitely is Logan Thompson. I was high on Thompson after last year, but didn't expect him and Aiden Hill to be one of the best tandems. 920 save percentage, 11-4 record. He's been really great in net. Vegas definitely got a break here with Leonard being out the whole year and these guys playing so well. And if Thompson keeps it up, he's definitely going to get looks for Rookie of the Year. It would be really cool to see a goaltender win it. It's been a very long time. So for Vegas, they can stay healthy and everyone can keep up the pace that they've been going at. They're definitely going to be a lock for the playoffs and definitely going to be back to being a contender. And second, huge surprise here, it's the Seattle Kraken, 13-5-3, 29 points. This team has been extremely fun to watch. They don't have a superstar player. They don't have someone who's going to lead the league in any stats, but they just play their game. They play as a team. The defensive structure looks way better than last year, and they do have some fun players to watch. Burakovsky turned out to be a great pickup, 21 points for him in 20 games. Matty Beniers, he's going to get rookie consideration with how he's playing, 18 points, 7 goals, and then Eberle down there with 17 points as well. They just play a team game, very fun again to watch, and pretty crazy to see this big of a difference from the first year to the second year for Seattle. I don't know if they end up finishing here. It would be pretty mind blowing to see if Seattle actually makes the playoffs. But the way they're going, I mean, they're off to a very good start if they want to get themselves in. And you see Martin Jones down there, 903 save percentage, nothing crazy. He's been good enough to get it done. His numbers were a bit higher about a week ago, but he has been the better goaltender between him and Grubauer. Fortunately, Grubauer has been out, and when he's been in, he's not been great. So for Seattle, with this specific division, with the way things have been going with the other teams, maybe they could get in. It's definitely their spot to lose. So it's going to be really interesting to see if they do end up making it. And third is the Los Angeles Kings. They are 12-9-3, 27 points. They've been very inconsistent this year. They'll win a couple games, lose a couple. It's been up and down for them, but if they can really find their game and some consistency, I think they definitely are locked for playoffs and can make a pretty good run. Fiala, the new face, coming over, leading the team in points with 22. And then you got all new guys leading here, Danault and Arvidsson coming over in the past couple of years. But 18 points for Danault, 17 for Arvidsson. And yeah, they have not struggled, much offensively. I think they keep it close in games, but their goaltending definitely is where this team lacks. Quick with an 897 save percentage, and him and Peterson, one of them has to pick it up if they want to get it done into the playoffs and start playing better, more consistent. They need the goaltending to be there. Quick, obviously getting a little bit older. He had a good season last year, good bounce back, but we're seeing this regression again. So a couple guys here need to turn around. Some of the younger guys step it up as well. I think this team will be okay, but for now it's a little shaky on where this team is headed for the rest of the season. And the last playoff spot is the Edmonton Oilers, 11-10-0 record, 22 points. McDavid, no surprise, leading the way, 36 points for him, 16 goals, just ridiculous how good McDavid is. Draisaitl as well. Can't forget about how good he's been, 32 points, and then Nugent Hopkins with 22. And you see a big drop off there in points, which is to be expected, but the depth scoring of this team has really struggled. They're not getting much offense outside of McDavid and Draisaitl, and that has been a big reason why they have lost a lot of games. The defense has been inconsistent as well, and especially the goaltending. Jack Campbell with an 875 save percentage, 4.04 goals against. That is not the type of numbers you want to see from your goaltender that you just signed to a big new contract. And it's unfortunate to see Jack Campbell. Really like him as a player, and he's had some good seasons the past couple of years with Toronto, but they need him to play better. Right now, Skinner's kind of taking over his net, and if Skinner continues to play well, he will take over for the season, but what concerns you there is he's a very young goaltender, so they need Campbell to play better. He has the experience. They know he can get it done, and their depth scoring has to improve. They currently are barely holding on to this last spot, and it would be crazy to see them going from the Final Four to missing the playoffs this year. I just can't see that happening. Hopefully, they're able to get in. On the outside looking in, fifth place is the Calgary Flames, 9-9-3 record, 21 points. And this team started off strong. They went on a big losing streak. I believe it was 9 or 8 games. And as of recently, they've been able to get themselves back in. It just seems like they haven't fully gelled yet with some of the new guys coming over, and they definitely are feeling the effects of losing Gaudreau and Kachuk. It's going to take a little bit to readjust, but hopefully it's not too little too late for them. Lindholm with 16 points, Kadri with 15, Toffoli with 14. Again, you can see the point numbers there. Nowhere near where some of the guys were last year. The offense and the defense just hasn't seemed to gel together yet, and Markstrom hasn't been great in net. 889 save percentage, just surprising to see from Jacob Markstrom, who had a good year last year and who has been pretty good throughout his career. For Calgary, if they can find that consistency and play together better, I think we could see them make it in, but it's definitely going to be tough with some of the teams ahead of them. So, going to be curious to see what ends up happening for the Flames. Sixth place, we have the Vancouver Canucks, 9-10-3 record, 21 points. They got off to a very rough start for the season. Lots of disappointment with this team so far, with the expectations for them to bounce back and make the playoffs after the new coach came over, and they played very well to end last season. We have not seen that carry over. They have picked it up recently and have got themselves in striking distance of a playoff spot, but they definitely need some help when it comes to the defense. The offense has been pretty good. Peterson, 22 games played. He's got 27 points, having an amazing bounce back season from last year. Bo Horvat, 17 goals, 24 points, and JT Miller with 23 points. A lot of critiques on Miller's game defensively, but on offense, he has been putting up the points. But the defense itself for the entire team has been very poor, and you can see Thatcher Demko's numbers have definitely suffered from it. 883 save percentage, only 2 wins in 13 games. We know Demko could play a lot better than that, but he's had little help. He's been a bit off his game this year, and for Vancouver, they've made some trades to get help defensively, but it's looking like they're going to need some more help, and it's been up in the air about certain players getting traded from this team. Do they strip things down? It's been a lot of media coverage on Vancouver, and not for the right reasons this year, so going to be a looking to see a bounce back. Hopefully they are able to turn things around for their season, but they need to pick it up sooner than later. Seventh place, we have the San Jose Sharks, 7-13-4 record with 18 points. Again, it's a team that is going to be rebuilding. I think they've slowly started to accept that for this season, and with Burns being gone, that definitely does hurt them. But Erik Karlsson has been amazing, definitely the bright spot on this team this year. 32 points in 24 games. We haven't seen Karlsson play this good in San Jose at all throughout his time here, and it's been 4 or 5 years since we've seen Erik Karlsson playing like this. He just has been amazing this year. You see constant clips of him just pulling off great dangles, making big, great plays, and really awesome to see him playing like this. And he's definitely going to get Norris consideration if he keeps it up. Yet Meyer there with 22 points, and then Hurdle with 21. There's been some question: do we see another big piece like either Meyer or Hurdle get dealt for more assets as this team continues to rebuild? But for now, I think it's still up in the air. The Sharks said they were open for business, but they do have some tough contracts to move. And then you have James Reimer with a 903 save percentage. He's been pretty solid. I think he's played better than his numbers has shown. I'm always impressed watching James Reimer play with what's in front of him for the Sharks. So maybe he gets dealt at the deadline. They get some assets back, and he's able to go to a team and help them out for playoffs. But for the Sharks, it's going to be another year of figuring out where the direction of this team is headed. And lastly, in the Pacific is the Anaheim Ducks, 6-15-10-1 record, 13 points. They are the worst team in the NHL currently, and a bit surprised. I mean, I didn't expect them to make playoffs or anything like that, but I didn't expect them to kind of regress from where they ended last year. This team just really struggles to score. Outside of Terry with 23 points and then Zegras with 20, you can see the big drop off to Henrique with 12. And if your third best player on your team has 12 points in terms of totals, you're in a rough spot. They definitely miss, some of the guys they've lost, but again, this team is rebuilding, so I guess it's another year not stepping forward, unfortunately, like they thought, but more so maybe needing to kind of trade out some more pieces and shake up the team again. Gibson, not been great. 4-12 record so far, 890 save percentage. And yeah, I don't know if we will see Gibson have another good season as long as he's in Anaheim. We may need to be traded out to kind of get back on his game, or maybe Gibson has unfortunately lost his game, and he's just not the goaltender he used to be. Tough to say, but for Anaheim, pretty rough year so far, and they got a long ways to go. Maybe they can find some bright spots and look a little better and show some progression throughout the year, but it has been very tough to watch the Ducks this year. They blow a lot of games and struggle to score. But that is it for this video. Look at the standings, and for part 2, we will cover again the East, the Atlantic, and Metro. So check out the channel for that video.